We've got the CB radio at the back there, a standard handheld PMR Motorola walkie-talkie, and the Baofeng walkie-talkies. So we're going to start off taking a look at the CB radio, the humble CB radio. Incredibly easy to set up. What you've literally got to do is screw your antenna into the back of the rig, plug it into a 12-volt power source. Most people, that would usually be obviously your car cigarette lighter. I use an EcoFlow, and it's ready to go pretty much. And you're connected potentially to the world from this point. It's crazy, it's insane. With CB radio, channel 19, just as it was in the old days, is your calling channel. So if anyone is around and they're looking for anywhere else, it will be channel 19 they go to. Used to be 14 as well back in the day, but it seems to be pretty much 19 only. So to make contact on that, you could literally just key up on your mic. It's anything you like. You know, you can say anyone out there, 1919 a Roger, radio check, anything you want to say. And if anyone's receiving your transmission, they will get back to you. The advantage you have with CB radio is because CB radios don't use repeaters, everyone that's got a CB radio is designing that to be as powerful and able to reach out as far as possible as a standalone unit. It requires no other technology at all, CB radio. So whatever you can achieve via your CB radio now, you would be able to achieve in a worst case scenario. And of course, with CB radio, height is might. The higher your antenna, the further you're going to reach. The antenna I'm using is a Thunderpole mag mount. It's designed to go on the top of a car, but you can buy, I've got one at home actually, home base antennas that you can set up. They are far bigger. So on the CB radio, you'll see on the display here we have FM. Now that seems to be the mode that everybody uses, generally speaking. Well, I say everybody uses on a day-to-day basis for local communications. People use FM. And as I say, you'd normally start on channel 19. Then if you're having a conversation, you'd clear that channel. You'd move to 20, 21, 14, whatever channel you choose to carry on your private communication. So FM has the best audio quality. That is the most pleasant experience on your ears from the CB radio. But it does have other modes. So let's have a look. So we've got AM. And again, we all know AM, FM. We all know FM stereo sounds better than FM radio sounds better than AM radio. It's the same with the CB radio. The FM sound quality is better. However, AM is able to travel further. You'll get more FARs out of AM than you will out of FM. And even more so, we now have these modes. Now, I don't know whether these were around when I was a kid or not. They certainly wouldn't have been legal. But this is USB, so this is part of the SSB range. So these are the single sidebands. This one is upper sideband, and you also have lower sideband. And if the conditions are right, it is more than possible to hear and speak to CB radioers in America and all around the world using these sidebands. So you see, all the time you have a way of powering your CB radio, you have a really reliable form of communication. On FM, will get you anywhere from 10 to 50 miles. So what that means is all the while you have diesel or solar, and I mean, that's going to work until the panel breaks. You always have a form of communication. And another thing that's definitely worth pointing out on these versus the CB, there's probably a lot of ex-CB radio users out there that are scratching their heads around the range I'm talking about now. The key difference is nowadays CB radios are a lot more powerful than 4 watts. I don't know if they're legally allowed to be, but in this type of scenario, who would care, if you even care now. But CB radios now are putting out 40, 45, 60, even 80 watts. Back in the day, that was limited by law to 4 watts. So this is where the extra range in comparison to what we remember from the 80s, 70s, 80s and early 90s comes from. You keeping guard, Nevy? That's good to see. Just let me know if there's any danger around, okay? You'd probably sort it out all your own self, wouldn't you, anyway? So that is why I think CB radio is your best form of long-range communication. But we do also have these PMR radios. So PMR is walkie-talkie. I think in America, in the States, they call it GMRS, but in the UK, it's PMR. And PMR is the PMR frequencies 446. That's these Motorola handsets you can buy on Amazon or in any sort of UK general merchandise retailer. They're 0.5 watts. They look quite funky, but they're actually not really very good. What we have here is the Baofengs. They're from China. So,
frequency mode.
As well as sending us pandemics, they have also sent us some handy stuff as well, like these. So these radios can broadcast on 446, and they can also broadcast on the ham radio frequencies. Now, of course, ham radio in the UK, you need a license to broadcast on, so don't broadcast on the ham frequencies unless you've got a license, or of course unless we're talking about a collapse of civilization scenario, in which case who will care about who's licensed and who's not. But the PMR channels, you can see oh, how do I do that? Getting confused here. Let's is it locked? It's locked. There we go. Let's unlock the radio, and what we'll do is we're going to go back up. You see the little triangles moved up to 446. So we're now transmitting on a walkie-talkie frequency. So the same frequency that this would run on. Now I think, yeah, this one's on channel 3. And ooh, you can hear that that interference there where the radios are too close. So this is able to transmit on the same frequency as this. So what makes this any better than this? Well, the simple reason is this one is limited to 0.5 watts of power output. So it's only allowed to transmit with 0.5 watts of power coming out of this aerial, and this aerial is also not allowed to be removable. You can't take it off unless you break it, and all of that means this is pretty lame. The Baofengs, this one I think is 5 watts of power, and it also has a removable antenna. Now I haven't got any with me here today, or actually I tell a lie, I have actually, but it means you can switch your antenna, and again with radio communications, height is might. So this one's 4 or 5 watts, this one is 8 watts. So when you compare these to that, there's no comparison at all regarding range. And these you can get some really good range out of. Actually, I've had 15-20 miles out of a Baofeng, but they are much more reliable on a line of sight. They do not work well at all if anything is in the way of the signal. CB radio is able to cope much better with obstacles than PMR. But I do still think that these would have a place in a survival situation because they're small, and these will work better than a handheld CB radio. CB radios, because of the lower frequency, need a much longer aerial in order to work effectively, whereas PMR can work with a shorter aerial. So for staying in close contact with family These are absolutely brilliant, and you definitely want to have these as well as one of those. And I do have another aerial here, which is it's a mag mount aerial. I forgot I'd even bought this today, so you can see it here. That's a mag mount aerial, so that goes on top of your car. And I can connect that aerial to this radio. I think I need an adapter actually. No, the adapter's already on it. The adapter's on it, so there we go. So I can connect this aerial to that radio, which now means I am broadcasting through the mag mount, so I could use this in the car with the mag mount on the roof.
A Royce CB radio, a paint shaker. Your CB may never get torture like this, but bumps and jolts can be a real problem for some CB radios. That's why Royce is designed like this, with fewer wires, exclusive modular construction. Royce CB, it's built to take it.
That's a big 10-4.
And now, 40 channels.
And that's it for today. That's it for this video. So we've covered radio communications to the best of my knowledge. Now, let me be clear, I am not a survival expert. I'm not ex-military. I'm certainly not a communications expert. But what I am is prepared. I'm a prepper. And most people aren't, and a lot of people kind of take the mickey out of preppers. But you know, when you think about it, you spend all of this money on things like life insurance, on critical illness insurance, all of these kind of worst case scenarios that we protect ourselves and we do our best to protect our families. But what most of us don't do is protect ourselves against that worst case scenario, civil unrest. Who knows what China may be cooking up for us in a lab. Perhaps we'll get a virus that's actually dangerous to more than 1% of the population this time. But if you look at what COVID did and the government's response to it, imagine what would happen if you actually had a truly deadly virus in the UK. We would collapse, and that's where the preppers would come in to their own. We would be the ones that, at least for a period of time, would be okay. So make sure you've got some food, make sure you've got water, make sure you've got means of purifying water, ways and means of starting a fire, ways of protecting yourself against other people. And it's a great fun hobby. It's really good fun, learning how to use these different tools, these different equipments, learning these different skills. You know, prepping is enjoyable, but you never know. As a hobby, prepping is enjoyable, but you never know when you might actually need it. And I remember my dad saying to me many years ago, it's the 6 P's. What was it? It's piss poor preparation predetermines poor performance. Piss poor preparation predetermines poor performance. The 6 P's. Well, preppers are ready. You know, we've done the preparation. That's what it's all about.